Hi, I'm Sana, and welcome to a very long overdue update on upcoming book-to-film adaptations in the first half of 2020. You know the drill by now, but I love doing research about what adaptations are coming up so I can decide whether I want to read the book first or not, but also to make sure I don't miss them in the cinema. First of all, there's been a ton that basically came out in January, maybe end of December, that I probably didn't cover in my last video, so we'll quickly chat you through that, especially because I've seen so many of them now. First of all, this came out in December, but I think in the Netherlands it's only just come out, or it's about to come out, so a lot of Europe is seeing it for the first time. Little Women. I loved that film so much. Have only seen it once, opposed to my friends who have probably seen it like 5 to 10 times by now. Just a beautiful, warm film about sisters and love. The film won an Oscar for the costumes as well. My friends put up a podcast with the designer of the costumes, who's actually working on and helping people with sourcing more ethical clothing and fabric for films. So I'll put a link to that podcast episode in the description if you want to have a listen. And I've actually been so obsessed with the outfits from the film that I created an Instagram account dedicated to people posting outfits inspired by the film. If you have any submissions, please send them to that account. And all there's left to say is that I have not yet read the book, which is at this point pretty much a crime. Then, to stay in a similar vein, the last, and I think it was third season of Anne with an E was released on Netflix. I watched it. I wept so much. I actually wanted to try and read the book as well, but then when I was rewatching the first episode, I realized a lot of the dialogue is like the same line for line, so I'm gonna wait until it's faded a bit more from my memory before tackling the book for the first time. It was so nice to see Anne being 16 and all grown up, and it felt like such an amazing world to return to. If you love cozy costume dramas and you haven't watched that yet, please do. Then of course, the talk of the town, the new adaptation of Emma, which was just released. I got to go to an early press screening, and then last weekend I also went again with my friends. I was very excited to see it again. It's very pastel. It definitely has some hints of The Favourite in maybe certain timing, certain music, but I do think it's still a very faithful adaptation. I'm hoping that Austen fans will love it, but that maybe a new audience will love it as well. They managed to make Regency dancing so hot. I loved the music and the singing that was in it, the costumes. There were a few continuity errors in scenes that annoyed me a little bit, and some like bad dubbing in one or two scenes, but those are pretty much my only complaints. I enjoyed it a lot. I will be getting the DVD or like buying it digitally and watching it over and over again. Of course, also a quick shout out to all the boys I loved before. P.S. I Still Love You Part 2. I watched it on Netflix and it flew by. There are books that I'm not really interested in, but I'm definitely into the films, although I liked number 1 definitely a lot better than number 2, but if you enjoyed the first one, definitely go watch the second one. The room design is just fantastic. Characters are cute, the problems are relatable. I forgot one of the books and I can't find it right now. I did think I owned it, but maybe I don't. Anyways, it's The Turning of the Screw by Henry James. It's been adapted, I think, in a modern way, and it's called The Turning. It is out now, and I heard absolutely nothing about it. I think you might still be able to catch it in some cinemas. It came out like end of January. But as someone who loves a good gothic novel and someone who loves a good horror film, I feel like it's up my street, so I'll at some point find a way to watch it. I think it's about a nanny and 2 creepy children. I also wanted to mention David Copperfield, which is in cinemas at the moment. I do not like Dickens. I haven't read much Dickens, but anything I've studied I have not enjoyed. I do, however, want to go see that film, so if you've seen it, let me know. Also, I'm curious if you've read the book. How does it compare to other Dickens novels? Then, I think this was just released, but for some reason I haven't watched it yet. The new season of Outlander. I love Outlander. It's inspired perhaps multiple trips to Scotland, and there's a whole new season. I think I might need to go back and rewatch season 4 before diving into season 5. I remember last time when they announced the date, I was like, oh, that is going to be such a long wait. And then I almost forgot about it, and now it's here. So I don't know why I'm filming this video instead of watching it, but that's what I'll be doing next. Okay, so that was all the stuff that is kind of happening now or has happened in the last few weeks. And the next upcoming ones are also very close. First, All the Bright Places, which is out this month on Netflix, based on the popular YA book by Jennifer Niven. I think a lot of you have read it and loved it. I don't know if it's my thing. I haven't read it yet. It's about two teenagers who meet. I think there's some romance. I think there's a lot of mental health related topics that they talk about as well. I don't know the details as much, but I do know that it's a book that often comes with like quite a few trigger warnings as well. And after watching the trailer, I don't know if I'm that interested necessarily, but I know it's been in the making for ages. I'll probably end up watching it when it's up on Netflix. But again, if you've read the book, let me know what you thought. Okay, the next one's a weird one. It's out at the end of February and it's featuring Elizabeth Moss and it's The Invisible Man. I'd had this on my list of notes and then I went through it and I looked at the trailer and I thought, is this based on the same work? It's loosely based on H.G. Wells' The Invisible Man, which again I have, but I have not read yet. But it's a totally modern update about, I think it's someone's ex trying to get back at someone, but he's invisible, so how can you stop him? Again, definitely interested in that. Very curious how it matches up besides it being about an invisible man. But yeah, so that's coming out end of the month. Next one is very exciting. This is being released March 5th on BBC iPlayer, and it's one that I've been talking about again for like months and months and months, trying to figure out when the release date was coming. And it's Noughts and Crosses, based on the series by Mallory Blackman, and I actually got to go to an early screening of it. They gave us a free copy of the new cover for the TV show. So the actors were there and they did a Q&A, so it was a really fun way to experience that first episode. I haven't read this yet, so apologies if I get it slightly wrong, but Africa has basically colonized a lot of Europe. And it's a society where white people, or the Noughts, are the minority, and the Crosses are the ones who are in the government, who are most of the police force. It's a world where a lot of things are flipped on its head from how they currently are. It's definitely a series that will make you think. Also, hopefully will make a lot of people think who haven't maybe seen things from this point of view before. So I'm excited to watch the rest as it comes out. I know this is a series that is loved by many. Okay, the last three, Little Fires Everywhere, featuring Reese Witherspoon, will be released on Hulu March 18th. I don't have a lot to say about this, but go watch the trailer. The Secret Garden is coming out April 10th. Again, I've seen the trailer in the cinema a few times now. It's a classic. I would probably be more interested in reading the book than seeing the film. The trailer is very funny because they keep being like, the garden, it is secret. Obviously more of a kid's film, so maybe not quite for me. Another one that's based on a kid's book that I'm so excited about is Artemis Fowl. It's finally happening. Coming out May 29th. Based on a book series that I love. I'm actually making my way through the rest of the series that I never finished as a kid. It's a ragtag crew of a bodyguard, a 12-year-old genius, a fairy who works for the fairy version of the FBI. The fairies are unknown to the rest of the world. This boy finds out about him, kidnaps one of them to try and get a ransom. I loved these books growing up, still do. Can't wait to see what the film is like. I'm just so excited that it's finally coming to life. Okay, so that's a quick overview of the adaptations that are coming out. Maybe you've added some to your to-read list in time for the releases. If you've seen any of them, read any of them, let me know what you thought, of course. And I'll be back in a few months to do the second half of 2020. In the meantime, I'll be at the cinema. Thanks for watching. Doei!